Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and people who watch internet videos. This is the Armchair Critic, and as you can see, I've managed to do something about the lighting in here. Next up, I'll be trying to do something about the sound. But until then, let's get on with today's review.
Bert I. Gordon's 1957 film, The Cyclops, not to be confused with 1940's Dr. Cyclops, is one of his lesser-known works.
Like such classics as The Amazing Colossal Man and Earth vs. the Spider, it deals with the deep fears of radiation spawned in the American consciousness following the end of World War II.
However, The Cyclops takes this a step further, drawing on such sources as Ovid and Homer to present a modernized version of a classic tale of unrequited love.
For those of you who haven't read the poem,
one of the tales in Ovid's masterwork, The Metamorphoses, is that of the Cyclops Polyphemus, who falls in love with the beautiful sea nymph Galatea.
Although the Cyclops is willing to offer his love everything he has,
Galatea prefers the company of the river god, Aeacus.
The Cyclops murders his rival in a fit of rage and Galatea flees, leaving both of them, in the end, lonely.
Our Galatea in this movie is Susan Winters, a woman looking for her lost fiancé, Bruce. She is clearly a sea nymph, for she is wearing a seashell as a hat.
Accompanying her are three men,
a pilot, a prospector, and a professor.
Although the professor claims to be in love with the beautiful Galatea, it is the missing Bruce who will provide our Aeacus to foil the Cyclops, as we shall soon see.
They set off across the mountains to begin their search, but are forced to land when they detect the presence of uranium.
Mr. I. Gordon uses uranium in much the same way that Greek vase artists
use creatures like satyrs or sphinxes.
These are liminal creatures, which live at the borders between the world of men and the world of monsters.
The ominously clicking Geiger counter provides us with a similar warning
that we are about to cross a terrible threshold.
The mysterious isolated valley in which our heroes find themselves is full of Bert I. Gordon's signature, poorly matted shots of ordinary animals blown up to enormous proportions.
These are as much a hallmark of his films
as the yellow Oldsmobile is of the films of Sam Raimi. The creature's transparency and lack of interaction with the background emphasize the otherworldly quality of this place. Finally, in her search for her beloved Aeacus, Galatea comes eye to eye with the Cyclops.
Unable to speak, but not wishing to sound uncivilized, he carefully enunciates each roar. Immediately smitten with her, the Cyclops snatches Galatea up and takes her back to his cave.
When the men come looking for her, Mr. I. Gordon takes this opportunity to introduce another Cyclops motif into the story, that of Odysseus and his men trapped in the Cyclops cave.
Naturally, it is the professor, a symbol of intelligence,
who takes on the role of clever Odysseus and blinds the Cyclops, allowing the party to make good their escape.
In a unique twist, he then deduces that since the radiation in the valley has caused all the animals to grow, Galatea's lost Aeacus has not been murdered by the Cyclops, but has, in fact, become him.
Unable to face this idea, Galatea dissolves into tears.
This is a scathing commentary on the shallowness of the characters in the initial myth. The Cyclops was willing to give Galatea everything, but she spurned him on account of his looks, preferring the handsome Aeacus. Her inability to cope with her lover's true fate is an inability to admit to her own lack of depth.
In the end, she flies away with Odysseus, clearly preferring to simply forget the whole affair.
Ultimately, we can see why the Cyclops never achieved the wide popularity of films like The Beginning of the End or Village of the Giants. To embody fears of scientific progress in the form of giant locusts attacking Chicago is immediately understandable. However, the complex mythological underpinnings of the Cyclops are much less accessible to the masses. It requires a thorough classical education and a dash of experience with literary criticism to see this film for the masterpiece it truly is.
Will you put this thing down like I told you?